we can go with that story too. That's fine.
Yeah, that's
I can.
I dumped him. He didn't dump me.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Whatever helps you in your support group with all your girlfriends and stuff. That's fine. Whatever you want to do.
So I'm gonna have to ask you your in-game name now, though.
That's a good question. Who am I?
Who am I? Upper left-hand corner.
I am RJ Collins. I will put it in the Discord chat there. As you can see, we're playing some World of Tanks. This is a pretty simple, well, what I hope to be simple game anyway.
It is.
I've played a lot of World Warships lately. It is this tier. That's true. I'm at this tier 1, which is why I have all these cute, adorable tanks in my lineup here. I don't have any of the big beasties. I have been playing a lot of World of Warships lately. Like, I just downloaded that the other day. I started playing it, and before I knew it, it was like 5 in the morning. I was just like, oh, God, what have I done? It's strangely addicting. I hadn't thought I'd be so into it as much as I was. That's for sure. Yeah. There's something about it. Just, I'm running around in a ship. I am a little bothered, though, that there's a lack of, people running around on the decks of the ships, like manning the guns and stuff, which, as I understand it, that's because they didn't put, people in because they would up the rating of the game, I think. So I've been told anyway. I don't know how accurate that is or not, but...
You get my invite, by the way? Maybe?
Good question. Friend request. Ah, there you are.
Hooray.
How do I accept the thing?
How do I tank?
Decline? No, not decline. How do I accept? Add to friends list.
There you go. Now I can invite you to the platoon.
Yay, I accept.
Alright, ready up.
Alright, what kind of tank
do I want? We'll get to talking. Well, you're going to have many different tier 1 options for you.
I'm going to take this really cute, adorable Russian wind-up toy tank.
Yep, they're all kind of that way. This is like the World War I versions of these tanks.
That's right.
The tech tree goes all the way to kind of into the 60s and 70s. All right, well, we're going to jump in here so that we can kind of get to getting, so you guys can see the wonderful tier 1 gameplay, which is certainly the most advanced level of gameplay in this game. Not tier 10, it's tier 1.
Tier 1. I'm anticipating some fail on my part since I haven't actually played... well, that's not true. I have played World of Tanks. I almost said World of War Tanks, but that'd be fucking redundant. World of Tanks once, some time ago. And that's why I have this account, in fact, is that's why. Now, World of Warships I have far more experience on.
Interesting.
Just because, recently, it's like the past 3 days, it's just like, I want to play some World of Warships. I need more World of Warships. Which I really like the Soviet Navy ships. Which I guess, for the community I've kind of been involved with, I guess it's not a very popular choice. Like, Bob, why are you using the Soviet ships? Like, well, why not? They're cool looking. I like the way they handle.
I started playing World of Warships. I didn't get very far. It's not that I wasn't interested. I think I just didn't have any time when I was looking at it. Yeah, it seemed. I don't know. It seemed so different. Like just that whole the whole dynamic and kind of relearning the maps and. Because I feel like a lot of these games, whether it's World of Warships or World of Tanks or any of these kind of combat flavored X versus X guys, even the first person shooters, I feel like 60% of the game is knowing the map cold. If you know the map cold, even if you're not a great skill player, you have an advantage.
What's actually going on here? I don't have anything happening on my screen. I'm just staring at the ground.
You have to move. I see you. You're there.
Oh, there we go.
Hello.
There we go. It wouldn't let me move at first.
Yeah, welcome to the game, Bob. Oh, yeah, you are adorable, aren't you? You're adorable.
Meep, meep. I'm a tank.
Look out. I'm gonna shoot something that can't penetrate bricks, but okay.
So what do I got here? How do I actually... So shift is like binoculars, alright.
Mouse wheel also zooms for you.
Yeah. What else do I got here? Looks like I have different types of shells. What are these different shell types here? 1, 2, and 3?
So you probably only have AP loaded. So there's AP, there's APCR, and then there's heat. So at this point in the game, you're probably fine with just AP. It's not worth doing any kind of advanced shells at this stage of the game. Later in the game, there's much more advanced stuff that you would definitely need to deal with. All right. There's an Artie down here to the right. Looks like he's in trouble already, so we'll keep pushing forward. There's an enemy tank. Are you ready? We're gonna go around.
I don't know what I'm ready for.
We're gonna kill this guy.
Why can't I fire? I'm able to fire out of shells. What? How do I reload?
R? C? It's R.
How are you able to fire out of shells? Why do I not have any ammunition?
You probably, I don't know. We'll have to check your tank. Do you have 0 shells all at the bottom?
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
Oh, what's going on here? Why do they send me into battle without any ammo?
You got trolled by your own supply guys.
God damn
I'll
it.
show you how to fix that when we get out.
What do I pay you fools for?
Alright, we're just going to jump on cap here. And then they should
Just
come
a really
to try
big,
to
heavy car.
defend. There we go. There
Can
they
you
are.
ram?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have ramming? All right, come here. Come here. Ah!
Oops, I'm on fire. I'm on fire. Fire.
Yar! Yeah.
There's another one down. Oh, well, a guy's gonna hit me. Good times. There's an enemy coming from the east, I think. Yep.
I'll ram him too. My little wind-up toy.
Oh, they finally got me. They got me. When we get back, we'll get you set up. Did you ram him to death?
I'm actually not sure. I don't
Did you
think
get
so.
the kill?
but
No, you didn't get the kill.
How do I repair my tank? There we go.
Hey, Daddy, I got a cookie.
You got a cookie? Cool. Just got a cookie.
Oh man, a cookie.
Mm-hmm.
That's more cookie than I got.
Bum, bum.
And my left track is all sorts of like worked up, but oh man.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The other thing
So,
you're gonna have to learn is there's like an auto repair thing, and yeah.
My ally is shooting at me.
No, that was the guy behind you.
Oh.
Russian.
Ooh.
Enemy tank, not Russian. Your guy appears about to die.
Oh come on, get up that hill, damn it.
Yeah, the early tanks don't really have great engines.
But.
Yeah, so you're gonna give this guy some cover. Leave that alone, kiddo. Just leave it alone. Thank you. Yeah.
This is what
Your
I've been
friend's
reduced
probably
to.
like, why isn't he shooting him? What's literally wrong with this guy?
No, he wants to get in on it.
Yeah. Like, yeah, let's
do
ram
you,
him.
buddy.
Let's ram him.
I've started a trend. All right, where's the capture point? What do I need to do?
Yeah,
What's
that's
the
where we
objective?
were down in K when we were down there in that circle. That's what we were supposed to be doing, and then you guys left.
Okay,
Game
looks like
over.
All
All
right.
right. So before we start talking about some of the upcoming games and whatnot, let's get you fixed up first. So you're gonna get
All
some
right.
credits and some experience. This should all look familiar to you. What you want to do is you want to right click, or on your garage, you'll see service and exterior under above all your modules.
Yes.
So click service, and you want to click repair automatically and resupply automatically.
Okay, I take it this like costs in-game cash then to do all this stuff. When you
Well, the
reload.
basic armor piercing doesn't, I don't think, because it's this is your first tank. But you should have like that top line, which is the 37mm AP, the basic one.
Yeah, there we go.
You should drag that puppy all the way 100 if it's not already there.
There we go.
Make sure
Now I've got some ammo in this thing.
Yeah, make sure you hit accept so it actually does it. But now you should see in your bottom there, you should see AP.
Yeah, I got it. I'm set now.
All right, so
I'm
we'll ready
set.
up, and then we'll jump into a game. We'll start talking about our first topic, which will now that you're not going to be ramming people to win. I mean, hey, it takes all kinds. Don't get me wrong, but
just show up to the tank battle without any shells. God damn it! Son of a... Guys, I forgot my bullets.
Boy. So what topic did you want to cover first?
I want to talk about how there's all sorts of people flying around in your Discord server with Eve avatars. I've noticed that lately, that there's a lot of people showing up with Eve avatars. Are you guys playing Eve again?
We are not. I received some texts, ironically, while I was at the baseball game yesterday, from a bunch of old Eve court mates that were asking us to come back. Most of those guys that you see in there are former Eve friends who we're just kind of reconnecting with, and so yeah, they've got Eve avatars in their Discord chat. So I'm considering Eve, but only if the situation is right. I'm interested in the new mechanics, but I really don't like the big game. I don't like the big giant Saab warfare game. I did that for a long time, and I really just don't miss it at all. Whoa. Okay. Did you not jump right in my way like that? Thanks. Yeah, so I really don't miss that game, so I'm looking for smaller scale, more casual play. And so if I can get that, then I may consider going back. But, yeah, the guys you see in there, some of them don't even play Eve anymore. They just, for whatever reason, they still use their Eve avatars. Which is strange.
Well, Eve does have really awesome like avatar generator.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I think came with that was Incarna, I think, right? That was the,
yeah, because my original avatar was so atrocious.
Everyone's avatar was fucking ugly when that game first came out. The character editor left a lot to be desired. I mean, it was 2003, right? 2003 when it came out. So I mean, it was awesome when it came out first, but
my guy looked like an anemic cancer patient who was malnourished. Because he was, I can't remember the race or whatever, but they were like, oh yeah, things like food, we just don't have it. The Matari, is that it? That sounds right.
Minmatar.
Minmatar, thank you. They're capping our base, so hopefully our guys will go back and fix that.
I think I just hit somebody.
Congrats? Question mark? Okay, it looks like only like one guy is going back, so I'm gonna go back and deal with that, and then I'll support on the 7-8 line, maybe. Okay, they got him. Actually, are you? Yeah, watch out in the middle there. There's a guy, the Tetrarch. He's kind of making a beeline across.
So, what kind of small scale stuff would you want to do in Eve then?
It's just small scale PvP or small corp stuff. When I started my life in Eve, we were in Providence, and it was enjoyable because even the quote unquote big battles were smaller. They were a couple few hundred. There were a couple few hundred people, whereas like in my later career when we got into some of the big sob stuff, it was like 2,000 people and lag for days and just absolute slaughters, and so I really don't miss that type of game. But I enjoyed the small scale PvP and some of the small scale even in industry stuff that we did in nullsec. But I don't know, I enjoyed the Provi days because it was a little bit more I don't know, it was just a little more casual. Like, everybody gets really serious in the big soft
Tank
stuff.
dead ahead.
Like, really serious. Ooh, tank dead to the left. And I'm about to be dead.
No, Nems, no.
Yeah.
Well, so from a YouTube perspective, Ah. So from a YouTube perspective, how would you incorporate that, or would you?
I don't know. I don't have the answer to that question, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously, you could record battles, or you could record roams, and you could make like a highlight reel or something. Yeah, I haven't figured that out yet, because you got to be careful in Eve. You don't want to give away too much of the how you do things, because it's YouTube, anybody can look at it. But I might incorporate it, but I don't even know that I'm doing it yet, to be honest with you. So it's still a little early for that. I think their last two guys are on cap. Yeah, there they are. Nice. Just go cap. There's only one.
I'm not even sure where the point is.
It's right, straight ahead. If you look on your map, it's the red flag.
Oh, there we go.
Yep. This is kind of capture the flag.
That's how all tank warfare was conducted?
That's how all what?
That's how all tank warfare is conducted?
No, there's different types of games.
No, I was making a joke about...
Oh, yeah.
Never mind.
Sorry, my daughter was distracting me by making a lot of noise, so I was...
Okay, so since I've got the automatic repair and all that selected, I don't have to go into that service screen then every time.
No, yeah. The only other thing you'll want to see is you should have a research button up in the upper right hand corner, and as you get experience, you can upgrade your tank and eventually get to the next tank.
Right, gotcha. Okay, so it's operating more or less just this. It's the same company as World of Warships, so it's operating the same way.
Yeah. It's literally the same everything.
Gotcha.
In fact, I may already have enough experience to get to the next tier 2, and you probably do as well, honestly.
It's where is that? Where's the research tech tree?
Upper
There
right
it
hand
is.
corner. Yep. Or well, you can just hit research in the upper right hand corner also.
I do not have enough for tier 2 stuff.
You got to remember you got to research in sequence too. So there's probably a gun or something you have to research before you can get to your tier 2 tank.
I can get the tier 2 American tank. Wait, no, that's a premium thing. Never mind.
Yeah, so go back to your main garage, and then in the upper right hand corner, click the research button.
Research.
Yep.
There we go.
And you should see the research just for your tank. And so there's probably only one thing you can unlock.
So I have to research this stuff first before I can get to the next tier of tanks then.
Bingo. So
okay.
You probably have a gun or something you need to research.
There we go. I've got a gun. Boom. And then I've got a bunch of tanks that are available. I got... Which one of these looks the coolest?
Which tech tree did you go with? U.S.
I'm in the Soviet tech tree.
Soviet. Okay. So yeah, you probably have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different tanks you could go to.
I'll go with this T-26. That looks cool.
I think I have one tank I can go to. Okay, so I'm gonna...
Yeah, we're gonna send these guys to the Dunce School of Tank Training. All right, so then I have to... This tank should appear then automatically down here somewhere, right?
It's a theory.
I have to not ready. There we go.
There
we go.
Kidding me?
There, I am a tier 2 tank. Woo!
All right, hold on. I have to deal with something here.
Yeah, I don't know, man. EVE Online, I always... It's one of those things where I see it, and I remember the good times I had, but never again.
Yeah, I completely
how I'm looking at it.
Well, the only reason I would go back is just the sheer like I would walk into an existing corp full of guys that I've played with for years and already are established themselves. They already have 6 or 7 systems and a home, and so that's the only reason I'd even consider it is because it would be kind of a lower
smaller scale, more intimate.
Smaller scale, but also just low barrier of entry, right? Like the idea of going back and trying to find a new home and blah blah blah. Also, make sure you go back into service and if you've got any supplies that you need, throw.
Yeah, I got that. I got it figured out
there. All right, so.
Which really, I think that's just an MMO thing in general, is just having that, those people to play with, I think.
Oh, yeah, 100%. All right, I am finally ready. Sorry about
However,
that.
Eve Online's different than most other MMOs because it requires you to be a little bit smarter than than the average player.
Right. Well, I mean, I've played the game since 2006. Yeah, 2006. So I've got what in the world is this map? I don't think I've ever seen this map. Interesting. So anyway, I got a lot of experience with it. I used to do a lot of fleet commanding in Eve. I ran a couple of I ran Corps my entire time there for the most part, and then I ran an alliance or two, or co-led an alliance or two. So I've got a pretty wide experience level in the game. And I did all the Sav War and some of the big battles, and so I kind of know what I like and what I don't like. But we'll see. Like I said, I haven't committed or not committed to it. Ooh, this looks fun. This whole going down a hill at the beginning of the game thing is very interesting. I mean, you are like right in the thick of battle here.
Woo! So does this game have like ballistics arcs and stuff?
To some degree, yeah.
So okay.
Man, this gun sucks. This gun is horrible.
Oh,
Did you
Bob's
die?
dead.
Okay. It happens. It happens to the best of us. It also happens to you. So yeah, that's my Eve story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, Godspeed is all I gotta say. If you do get back into it, it's a special kind of hell that can be enjoyable. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think also it depends on like your financial capabilities within the game and how good you do or don't have that. That can have a pretty big impact on your experience.
Well, that I think that has far more to do with like patience, because there's the adage I'm sure you're familiar with: don't fly something you can't afford to lose.
Well, that's my point, right? Like at some point, you get to the point where you don't have ships you can't afford to lose. I mean, remember I played the game for 10 years, so my wallet was usually in the billions of ISK, right? So just because I've been around a long time and I had certain investments that I could make. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm completely on the fence on the whole thing. And the big thing for me is I don't think I'll put that much time into it compared to what I used to do. Because I just don't have the time anymore. So what else? What other gaming topics are out there?
You want to talk about the fail that has been... well, I suppose I shouldn't say fail. There's been a lot of abject hate, at least on the YouTube front and on Twitter.
I mean the second most disliked video in the history of YouTube?
Yes, I am talking about Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Is that what it's called?
Infinite, yeah, sure. As much as
so
it matters.
I don't. Right now, I don't. I haven't actually bought a Call of Duty title, I think, since Modern Warfare 2. I think, and because I really enjoyed the first Modern Warfare a lot. Like I dumped a lot of hours into that game. I really enjoyed the multiplayer of it. I really enjoyed the customizability of everything, the game modes. A lot of my friends were playing it and such. And then, I was obviously hyped for Modern Warfare 2 because I had a lot of fun with the first Modern Warfare, and then just kind of fell off at that point. Now, I know there's like the stereotype of the COD kitty, which is, the 12-year-old that's screaming into the mic, which can really be, any game, frankly.
We play Rainbow Six Siege. We get the same thing.
Yeah, so I mean, that stereotype would be everywhere, but typically you have Call of Duty associated with it most of the time. I think typically on like Xbox, a lot of the time, I think is where that goes hand in hand. The Xbox COD kitties is what you get a lot of the time. Now I know that as has been mentioned, it's the second most disliked video or trailer at least for on YouTube. And I'm not 100% sure why, and I wanted to explore that a little bit as to why. And the most solid thing I can find is that the only thing I can see or I find is that Activision is ruining the franchise, but I don't know what that means. Like, ruin the franchise how? Or is it because we're not doing World War II anymore? Is it because There's
I'd
the
heard
supply drop things. Like,
yeah,
what's
I think
the
the
problem?
supply drop thing's the thing I've heard the most about. So I haven't investigated it that much because I'm kind of like you, right? Like, yeah, I'm aware of, but not really a huge into the current tracks on that, right? Like, just that game genre, the Call of Duty franchise. But so I read through some of the comments on that video just because, right? And I would say a lot of the complaints were supply drop based.
Which that's a microtransaction things, right?
Yes, and that's the whole, like, the internet freaks out anytime it's pay to win.
What is our supply drop thing? I mean, I don't know what the balance is or anything like that, and you maybe don't either. But is that a pay to win aspect at all, or is it just like fun little boost stuff?
I haven't seen enough to know how impactful on the game it is, and let's be honest, right? Like, anything at this point is conjecture. So, I hate to put too much into it because it's like, okay, yeah, we're freaking out, I could care less, honestly. People of the internet is freaking out about a game that has a trailer, right? And, like, I know that, yeah, there's been, details about the game release, but, like, there's so much that happens, especially in these AAA titles, in the alphas and the betas and I think it's early in the game to go too far down that road, but clearly
my chat is pitching in here a few things actually.
Sure.
Is what they're saying is that COD is one, they hardly ever update the engine or even bother changing it. They reuse animations all the time. The new game looks like someone copied Halo and Titanfall and mixed it together.
Oh yeah, the creativity
the
left Call of Duty.
The shooter genre has been doing
ago.
that for on itself for decades now at this point.
Yeah,
as far as reiterating on the shooter design and adding in new elements and reusing elements. So I'm not sure if I buy that as really a complaint so much. I mean, I can understand people are tired of seeing the same thing over and over, but I wouldn't push that hate directly onto Call of Duty for going, hey, these things are working within the shooter genre, let's go ahead and use these things that are working. So so that's what I think about that particularly. But
yeah, I mean, like I said, it's.
I guess the future setting is also a point of contention. I guess
I don't know why it would be. I mean, there's only so much you can do on some of the historical genre stuff. So at some point, you've got to have. Oh boy, this is not starting out well for us. At some point, the future genre is just going to be a thing, right? I mean, you can only go so far into the past with a shooter, like, unless you want your shooters to be, hey, my swords, like, unless you want your next Call of Duty to be chivalry. So that's arquebuses are going all the way back to 15th century with this shit. I've got an awesome musket, and I'm gonna upgrade my musket to be a musket with a.
Well, there are some like Civil War like shooter kind of games out there, aren't there? I mean, they're older.
Not that I'm aware of. Like
I
actual shooter
maybe
games.
It was a mod.
Yeah,
well,
mods I would buy.
There was
I
think there was a Half-Life mod a long time ago for Half-Life 1. And I recall my friends wanted to try it, and we did try it once, and then we never played it again because we didn't like it. Oh god. Ah!
Yeah, they're all
fix the tank. Ah! Oh god. Ah god. However, if you want to talk about an ecstatic, on the opposite spectrum, Battlefield 1 seems to have gotten a lot of praise.
Yeah.
As far as a trailer release goes, and I don't know if you've seen them or not, but there's a lot of videos that are being kind of released on kind of in the meme kind of category, where Battlefield 1 is better than Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
Yeah, I mean.
And again, it seems like it's like, yay, we're going back to before Modern Warfare, which is World War I in the case of Battlefield 1.
Well,
and
So a lot of us who grew up on Battlefield, like Battlefield 1942 is still one of my original like favorites because it was very different than the modern shooter in the sense that it was, large, wide open maps and more complex gameplay and less stupid accuracy where you could just turn and shoot somebody, and like there were things about those games that I think people really enjoyed, but I also think we're it's the nostalgia goggles to some degree, right? Like, oh, it was so great. I don't know if it really was as great as we all remember, but in the same vein that we think Nintendo games were great, but if you go and try to play them right now, you're like, I can't even. I just know.
How do I function?
What
is this? How do I even?
So there's
I think
a bit
the
of that.
nostalgia factor is huge. I think in a lot of that. And I think that's something that's hardly ever taken into account with a lot of this stuff.
Agreed.
A lot of the time. What I am irritated about, what I am kind of sore about though, because of nostalgia, is that the Modern Warfare, so Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, which is the first Modern Warfare title, is actually, you do have to buy, I think, some sort of Legacy or Collector's Edition with Infinite Warfare in order to get that. Which at first I heard, I heard it kind of just like on the internet. I was just like, oh, cool, they're going to remaster Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which I'm like, as I said at the beginning of this whole thing, I was really a big fan of that game, and having a remastered version, that would be really awesome. I would not mind at all pitching you like $20 or $30 at a remastered version of that, so I could, play it on, 1080p or something like that, right?
Right.
Higher res models, better textures, that kind of stuff. I was all about that, and then I looked into it further. It's just like, oh, I have to buy this Infinite Warfare game, which I don't think I really plan to play. It's not. There's nothing there that I think I really care about for it.
Mm-hmm.
So. It's turned me off a little bit, I guess you could say, about that. I was just like, what's going on here? I still think, however, it's going to sell okay. Infinite Warfare.
They always do.
Call of Duty makes them, like, I don't know if anyone watches their stocks or anything like that. I do a lot of stock trading personally, but they're on the up. They've been constantly on the up, and there's always that little spike when there's that Call of Duty title announcement that happens. Not the actual sales, but
right.
When the actual announcement goes out, there's a little bump in like stock price, for instance.
Like
and
when
Activision
Apple
Blizzard,
announces the new iPad or the new iPhone.
Yeah, it's anytime there's a product announcement, sometime there's it's like, hey, we're excited for this thing. Let's be excited. So and that happened with Infinite Warfare as well.
Right.
I don't know what kind of impact that's going to have on the whole YouTube dislike thing's going to have on sales. I don't think it's going to, because I think that a lot of the same people who are disliking that so much are also probably going to be the same people who buy it.
Well, the last thing I wanted to say on that is one of the articles I read about that wondered if there wasn't something else going on there, because of the sheer scale of it. It has to almost be like either some sort of bot or some place. Because if you look at some of the comments, somebody even said, hey, I'm back from my daily dislike. So there's clearly a campaign involved. So I think
daily dislike.
I think so there's a lot of ways that people can actually pull that off. And so I think if you take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, like, it's the second most disliked video on YouTube, but people have learned the system. And that's kind of part of the problem with this social media concept, is that it's such an abusable thing. So you can say, oh, that many people really hate it. I seriously doubt that many people hate it. But if you've got like 10 Google accounts and you now look like 10 people, and how many people have multiple Google accounts, particularly tech nerds, right? So I think there's a bit of that aspect to it, where social media, while it can be a canary in the coal mine, it can also be just utter BS. It can also just be that really vocal minority factor.
Sure, absolutely. I would wholeheartedly agree with that. I think some really good examples of the whole internet, that whole internet mindset would be, like, I don't know if you ever saw, like, I think it was the Lay's potato chip company. They were asking people to like name their next potato chip flavor. Mm-hmm. Or no, it was Mountain Dew is what it was. Mountain Dew. I mean, Dorito did a thing too, but they're which that got some pretty gnarly ones. But Doritos or Mountain Dew had one, and they had such entries for their flavor as Hitler did nothing wrong and like fresh grandma and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm totally on board with you on, with the, the ability for people to organize and rally. What I'm more interested in knowing is if that was something that was perhaps engineered by Activision instead as a PR campaign.
Oh, absolutely could be. Which I would think is like, honestly a little bit genius, right? Take advantage of the troll net for the PR that you can get from it, right? I mean, it is what it is.
He's only at 30%. You can do it.
I'm just waiting for him to peek out again. There we go.
Bam. Yeah, fuck that telephone pole. And that one too.
Screw you, hippie. Telephone poles are renewable resources. I don't like renewable resources.
Fire! Get him, get him. Ah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Came in like a wrecking ball. Didn't need those tracks anyway. Come on.
You got friends coming on the left anyway. That guy's right in there.
Yeah. Nice.
That was awesome. He's like, I got this.
Wow. Is that my own guy shooting me? Yeah, that was.
Nope,
No?
behind you.
Oh, I didn't see that guy behind me.
Yep, that guy. You gotta watch out for that guy.
Oh, what else is going on? Is Hearts of Iron next month? A couple weeks out? A few weeks?
That's gonna be D-Day, June 6th.
Yeah.
So that's coming out, which I'm excited for. I'm getting actually more excited for it as time moves forward towards it. It's not the same curve as it was for Stellaris, because as soon as Stellaris was announced, I was like, I need it. But Hearts of Iron 4 was first announced, I was like, oh, another Hearts of Iron game, which, admittedly, I actually can't. I had a really hard time with Hearts of Iron 3. It's a very, to me anyway, it was a very dense game. And I don't know if I've actually mentioned this comparison before. I saw that, I don't take credit for it, but I saw this comparison. I think it was on Reddit that I saw this. It was EU4 is like learning to drive a car. Victoria 2 is like learning how to dock at the ISS. Which I would agree with to some extent. I've played some of Victoria 2, and I kind of got a handle on it a little bit. On how to play it and stuff, and how to manage some of the things. Hearts of Iron is a totally different beast, though, in comparison to like those two games. Right. While you have elements from those games in there, the game, at least in relation to Hearts of Iron 3, I haven't played the prior installations of it at all. Hearts of Iron 3 very much seems to want to put you down the path of this is the timeline for World War II, is what this is. So you're starting from 1936 or whatever the start time is for it.
Right. And
it's like you can't just, like in EU4, you can straight away, you can fabricate a claim on your neighbor and then go to war as soon as the claim is available, right?
Right.
As you can do in EU4. In Hearts of Iron, you can't just do that. You have to wait for like a certain amount of tension or neutrality to be, a factor in that, and that's caused by other events. And there's certain people who have different levels of. I might be butchering it, but this was kind of my understanding of it as I was playing it, or trying to play it anyway. Is that it's definitely a little more set in how world events are going to unfold, at least at first.
Right.
Then once you get into the actual fighting, then that's where things are, that's where you kind of decide how history unfolds, is in the battles themselves and what your tactics are in the field.
Right.
Now, I don't know how that's going to shake out with Hearts of Iron 4 necessarily. From what I've been reading, it sounds like the whole neutrality mechanic has been kind of redone a little bit so that you can get in the action a little bit faster, which I like. I like that idea.
Yeah, so the funny part is, I was kind of the same with you. I was super excited about Stellaris, and I'm not going to say neutral on whatchamacallit, Hearts of Iron 4, but maybe a little more neutral. I actually may end up liking Hearts of Iron 4 better. And I say that, like, not in the sense that I won't like Stellaris, but, I mean, I'm a huge World War II guy. Like, love the crap out of that whole thing. Just the history of it, the battles. I've got more history books on that than pretty much anything. So, but Hearts of Iron 3, to your point, was such a learning curve that I just never even tried it. I watched some videos and I was like, nope, don't have that kind of time.
Well, some of it's also a little more dry as well, right? You know, especially when it comes to the visual part of it. Now, there's two kind of visual modes to it. The first one is the little counters you have on the board, which is really akin more to like playing Axis and Allies. You know, it's very much you are moving,
which I am actually a huge fan of, right? And so
I am too.
And I played Making History was a game series that was also very dry, and I think the reason that I didn't go with Hoi 3 was the time that I was going to need to invest didn't seem worth it, knowing that there was a newer version coming. And so I don't mind the learning curve. I've heard Hoi 4 is a little better on that front than Hoi 3, but I will probably definitely make the investment in Hearts of Iron 3 or 4.
Oh, so will I. I think it looks more exciting too, as compared to Hearts of Iron 3.
Yeah.
So there, like I said, there's the two graphics modes on there. The first one's the counters, and the second one you can actually see troops on the board, which is all the unit models, like any Paradox game. They have all the aesthetic DLC that they sell. That's completely optional,
right?
In there, which is great. They've got that available for Hearts of Iron 3 as well, but it was kind of an either or. Like you couldn't, at least I couldn't tell what the troop strengths were on any given, in any given like state or province just by looking at it with the troop models on. I had to be in the counter mode to figure that out, or like sort of select them, be like, okay, here's what I'm facing, here's what I need to actually counter with in order to make the battle swing in my favor and such. Whereas in Hearts of Iron 4, it seems like they've done it the other way, which is, hey, we're going to give you, you can see the infantry guy standing there, what the troop strength is by looking at it.
Right.
And you perhaps you can call that shallow. I know some people do when I explain it to them that way. I was just like, I'm not excited by seeing counters go. Like I'm cool with that when I'm playing a board game like Axis and Allies. Like I'm totally down for that. Mostly because you have the human factor of there's another human or a set of humans on the other side of the board that's giving you something exciting going on, because there's table banter going on, or you're having a conversation of some type. Things like that.
Right.
But when it's just you and a set of counters, it can get a little boring and a little stale. Yeah. I feel.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to see how that all turns out. I've got no stick time with Hearts of Iron 3 personally. Obviously haven't touched Hearts of Iron 4 yet, but I am kind of looking forward to that coming out, especially because I don't travel again until July, so I'll actually be finally getting my legs back under me from a gaming perspective, at least. So that's all good stuff. So Stellaris, you had a pretty hefty amount of time into it now.
I do.
What do you know? What are your general thoughts having put that much hours into it?
I think a lot of the points have been said already in a lot of other reviews. They typically go like this: the beginning game is great. You are, if you're exploring, you're hunting pirates, you're having to clear out, alien, barbarian type units from your space if they're blocking your science ships or construction ships, what have you. The mid game is where things really, really slow down, at least from an AI perspective. If it's just you and single player, because the AI tends to keep to itself. You're just kind of building. Just up. You're just developing stuff. I think it does a really good job of being an intergalactic developer simulator in the mid game. But it's like you got to get past this mid game slog in order to get to the end game crises stuff. Unless you're instigating something, unless you were actively going out and instigating, problems with people, with like your neighbors, there's not gonna be much going on. And that can change a little bit if you modify some of the aggressive AI behavior and like some of the notepad files and stuff. That requires actually filling out with game files and stuff, which not everyone's interested in doing, obviously. But there's like some AI tweaks, I think, also in the Steam Workshop that you can go check out and stuff. The game absolutely shines, though, like any Paradox title, I feel, in multiplayer. because I'm doing a lot of multiplayer of it, and that's when you get people with motivations and people interested in geographic claims on the geography of in the galaxy, and as well as just rivalries form that players remember. They're not working off a spreadsheet. They're working with feelings, as people do,
right,
and would, which I appreciate and I like. So the multiplayer of it, I think, is going to be healthy and it'll be fine. I think that there's still a little ways to go to make it an enjoyable single player experience all the way through, because I don't think everyone's going to have the patience for that mid-game slog like I was talking about before. The swarm invades, or that fallen empire declares war on you because you settled too close to them, or settled the holy world or something like that.
Right.
Otherwise, it's a very fun, enjoyable game. I still would recommend it to anybody who's looking for a new game that's still fresh. It's got a fresh take on the 4X genre, and I think I would still firmly place it as a 4X game.
Yeah, I agree.
It wants to call itself grand strategy. I think it's still got some stuff to work out before it can be truly grand strategy.
I feel like 3 or 4 DLCs later it could be, but there are it
depends on what
many,
those are, though. It
so
totally
many
depends on what
missing
those
elements to make it grand strategy.
Well, right. I think we talked about this in the last episode, which is like trade. Trade needs to be there, I think, because you could point to a lot of different wars that happened in like just human history, and a lot of them were for economic reasons that they took place, right? There's some economic motivator for them taking place. Yep. A lot of the time. So there, as it stands right now in Stellaris, there's not a lot of economic motivators for going to war with somebody in Stellaris. Really, it's kind of more or less because it's like, hey, they're my neighbor. I think I should just go ahead and vassalize them just cause, or I should conquer their planets just cause.
Right.
Because there's plenty of, unless you're playing on like a really tiny map, that's just packed with AI or so, there's plenty of space for you to be able to, most of the time, to be able to just claim, your core sector planets,
mm-hmm.
and then just develop those, and you'll be swimming in minerals and energy a lot of the time, which are the main resources that the game uses to have you build stuff, maintain your fleets, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, I would equate it to like, EU4 early was a very different situation than kind of EU4 now, right? And so,
oh sure.
And I'm not saying that EU4 wasn't a grand strat all the time. I don't want to take that comparison too far, but I feel like the maturity factor of the game, it's a really good framework. I think that they've built a very good base game, but it is right now to me, and I do like the game. I don't want this to come off as a negative review of the game. I like the game. It's still a lot more, to your point, it's a lot more Master of Orion than it is E4. It is still if you play the 4X genre, you will not have a problem getting into that game. Whereas like if you play the Civ 5 style games, then you will have problems when you get into EU4 because it is so far from what you're used to.
Right, exactly.
But if you play any kind of Space 4X, you will pick it up very quickly.
Yeah, and it has elements of EU4 CK2 in there. They're not as thick as they would be in those games otherwise, And I wonder how much of that is just in name recognition, really. I think for selling the product more so than it is anything else. For those of us who are kind of Paradox veterans, who played Paradox games, it's that's kind of been in the back of my mind as well. But we gotta wait to see what the DLCs are going to bring. Definitely some economic motivators, I think, for combat and warfare are needed moving forward.
Agreed.
Which, I wouldn't be surprised if like they put out like a straw poll like today, for instance, and asked what would you like to see next. I wouldn't be surprised if trade was at the top of that list, along with probably espionage. And trade and espionage would probably be at the top of that voting poll, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the depth of the game, I'm pretty happy with. But yeah, I agree. The as far as the mechanics go, there are major missing pieces. And what I think I was a little disappointed in is they're pieces that I feel like they have in their other games. So I'm not sure why they're missing. Like trade is is definitely a piece of the puzzle in other games. So I'm not sure why they left that out, unless it was literally to say, hey guys, let's just get this to market, let's get some feedback, and we'll put in, you know, the roadmap will be 6 to 12 months already filled out and things we think we can do. But I have a little bit of an issue with, like the idea that you don't make the best game you can make because you want to wait and put that on DLCs just to make money on it. I feel like there's enough iterative improvements you'll be able to make. You don't need to play that game. And I'm not saying they are, but that to me is the most blatant. It's in your other games, but it's not in this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel or what my thoughts are on that quite yet about where they're going with that, because they've become far more successful than they have in the past. And if you look at development of something like CK2, which I think would be a better example than EU4 in this, is that CK2 released, it was also a very different game from what it is now, as far as DLCs go, right?
Yep.
You know, when Crusader Kings Crusader Kings 2 first came out, they were in a far different position resource-wise than they are now.
Oh yeah.
Right, so it makes absolute sense that, you know, Crusader Kings 2 would have a whole bunch of different DLCs that have improved the game, simply because they didn't have the resources to produce all that stuff at that time for the release of CK2. You know,
right.
Earlier in the game, or excuse me, the studio's life cycle.
Yeah.
You know, now it's, I mean, they have an IPO, for crying out loud. You know,
Right.
It's not available in the US as I understand it. It's actually what's the market?
Don't know.
I'd have to look it up. All I know is that the stock wasn't available for purchase on US markets. You'd have to go to a different market in order to purchase their stock and stuff, which I was considering at one point, but I don't want to fiddle with having to fiddle with the international market and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Yeah, it is.
So I think we got time for one last topic before we have to summarize. So any other big topics you wanted to cover during the show here?
We can talk a little more about. We talked a little bit about it, but not much. Battlefield 1, and how DICE is going back to World War I is what they're doing with their new game.
Yeah, which I'm actually a big fan of, honestly.
Yeah, I'm actually not too up on World War One personally. I'm not actually. I like history. I'm not actually very informed in history, unfortunately. Something I'm hoping to rectify by doing all this wargaming. But the trailer looked very exciting, but it's not exactly what I had in my mind when I pictured World War One. You know, when I think World War One, I'm thinking there's people in trenches who are every so often shooting at each other. There's machine guns involved. There's tanks crossing the field. And then there's like bayonet charges that fail often. Like that's the scene I have set up in my head when I think of World War One, and that's not exactly what I was seeing in the trailer. The trailer was very exciting, which is understandable because they obviously want to get people hyped for the game. But since I know you actually know a lot of World War One, maybe you have an opinion on it that might be a little more in line with what's going on.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things, right? Like so there were many different fronts within World War One, and the only real trench front was France.
Okay.
Kind of the European. That's where the trenches formed. The interesting thing about World War One was it was the first war with modern weaponry, right? So if you think about all the wars before that, muskets, lines of muskets, you line up, you shoot each other.
Right.
That was how they worked. Machine guns were invented right before World War One, and some of the rifles were still very new. And tanks didn't actually exist at the beginning of World War One. They were invented during World War One, and they were used so very differently than they were used in World War Two. Right. So, tanks in the World War One sense of the word were they were literally just support. What in the world? Sorry, I'm taking fire from somewhere I don't know how. So there are some things that are really fascinating about World War in combat that I'm pretty excited about. I'm not sure how well they're going to implement some of the ideas, but I will say that it will be hard to pull off. I imagine there needs to be some sort of trenches involved, and that being said, the oh boy, G7. Boom, shakalaka. That being said, there were some interesting, because you had biplanes during World War One too, right? Like, so, you know, if you think about World War Two, air power was the big thing, right?
Right.
In World War One, machine guns and artillery were the big thing, because it was also the first major form of artillery. And there's for anyone in the vicinity, there's a World War One museum in Kansas City, and one of the displays shows the artillery shells that were used, and some of them were like as small as mortar rounds, and then some of them were like 16 inches wide. You know, like, or a foot and a half wide, 2 feet wide. So it was a very interesting thing. Now, so my point to all that is not that I think they're going to be able to replicate that immediately, but I hope they take some of the variable technology into play, because, you know, you had one-shot rifles, you also had machine guns, you had, you know, horrible artillery, you had great artillery. So are they going to be able to bring in some of that, or in the name of competitive balance, will they try to peanut butter spread everything and make everybody the same? Because that always kind of irritates me about some of these war games, especially the historical ones, where they kind of like, you know, this guy had better such and such, or this guy's had better rifles, these guys had better machine guns, but we're going to make them all the same so nobody bitches about gameplay.
The last Battlefield game I played was Battlefield Bad Company, so I can't speak to that point.
No, well, and that's the problem.
Well, no, that's
right?
that's not actually entirely true. I did get Star Wars Battlefront,
Mm-hmm.
which they paid a lot of attention to the aesthetics of it. So I think that aesthetically everything will be, you know, as it should be. I think in the game, I think I'm confident of that for Battlefield 1. You know, like the biplanes will look like the legit historical biplanes that you saw, and the weapons will look accurate and everything like that. They'll sound right probably and all that. So I think they're going to do fine with that stuff. To your point about will things be, will the faction parity be historical, or will it be for game balance? I think it'll be for game balance. If their prior games are any indication of what's actually happening on or in the game battlefields anyway.
Yep, I agree. I mean, and that's the part that I think I won't like about it.
Way to go! The command expresses their gratitude and congratulations for achieving 5 victories. I've won 5 times apparently since we started playing.
Nice.
Hooray!
I haven't. I'll be honest with you, I haven't even kept track. I've just been playing. Let's see. 1.
I didn't even know we were winning.
2 and 2, 2 and 3, 2 and 4, 3 and 4. Looks like we were 4 and 4, 5 and 4. Looks like we were batting 500. We were 5 wins, 5 losses.
Okay, well, that's not bad. I'll take batting 500.
Yeah.
0.5 average. That's pretty good.
All right, I think we're in wrap up mode here. So, anything you want to shout out or advertise here before we close?
I've actually got a couple of things. If I haven't made it known yet, I do have a public Discord server. The link will be available not just on my channel, but pretty much any video you see, there will be a link to my Discord server that anyone is welcome to come join. I'm starting to stream on kind of a semi-daily basis now, so anyone's welcome to come join me as long as you got the game I've got. You're welcome to come play with me anytime. Twitter, RJC_Foxtrot. You're welcome to follow me. I put updates out there, whether it's just about, you know, life or what my wife and I are doing, you know, out and about, or, you know, the color of my hair has changed or something like that, which it probably won't. I tried red in my hair once. That didn't work out so well. I had like this race.
Got weird fast.
I had this racing stripe like down the right side of my head for a little while. God, that was a mistake. Let me tell you, I've been really into red racing stripe. I'll see if I can find any pictures and I'll post them for like posterity on the internet.
I would love.
I've really been into.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would.
I'd love to integrate that into a thumbnail at some point in the future.
I'll see if I can find one. I've been playing a lot of Red Orchestra 2 and World of Warships lately. I think, as I mentioned, Red Orchestra 2 is pretty awesome. Actually, I got to say, just from the realism standpoint. Additionally, final thing, I am going to be running a Stellaris structured campaign starting May 28th, and signups are through the video announcement that I made on my channel. So if you want to participate in that, you have to sign up through the comments. And the reason I'm doing that is because Stellaris has hot join and stuff. I want to ensure the game moves along at pace. So if you're not in the list, you don't get to play. So keep that in mind if you do want to participate in that Stellaris campaign, everybody.
Cool.
Now to you, Nems.
Yeah, so some repeat, right? So for those of you who do watch any of our videos, we also have a public Discord channel. We've actually gotten pretty decent activity in there. And it's it serves a few purposes, right? One is obviously interaction with the Burkrew team. It's also a place for folks to kind of set up multiplayer games together. We have an H1Z1 group that's on there that is an invite only, but if you jump on and you get enough trust that we may let you into that. And then the second thing, we've got a couple other pieces. So we've got some new guys on the channel. So if you haven't checked out some of the videos lately, give it a gander, because we've got some new guys involved. And then also we have the Patreon link that we put in all of those for any supporters, regular supporters who want to support us directly. YouTube advertising is what it is. It's not the greatest source of funding for YouTube content creators. So we also have a link to that in all of our channels. But just in general, I want to encourage everybody, the Discords or commenting on these videos. Interaction is kind of, I think, the key for Bob and I on the respective channels. So anytime you guys can get involved, even if it's just to say hi, we really appreciate it. And we think that interactivity piece, and that's why we've done the Discord, is really what's going to make these communities that we're trying to build here fun.
Well, it's really the most fun, frankly, I have is doing the YouTube thing, and being a YouTube channel provides, I think, a centerpiece for people to come around, right? Like they know this guy is doing stuff. He's doing a thing. Let's all go play with this guy here because he's got this stuff organized. So it's a central meeting point is what it is, and that's what it serves as. And I have the most fun when I'm playing with community folks. That's for sure.
For sure. All right, everybody. Well, that does it for the Casus Belli show for May 21st. I've been Nems. Bob's been Bob.
I'm always Bob.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you're RJ Collins, actually.
Well, always still Bob.
Yeah,
RJ Collins is Bob.
I'm always Nems. Always.
Always Nems.
Always Nems.
Never not Nems.
Never not Nems. All right, everybody. Have a great one. We'll see you guys later.
See ya.